All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is about that time. We are going to get things started. Half a day. Good afternoon. Welcome to the University of Guam School of Business and Public Administration 2021 Fanium Nakin Dean's Speaker Series. My name is Jaron Uggan. I am one of the academic advisors here at SBPA, and I will be your facilitator for today's event. Today is our first session for this series, and we are kicking it off with Ms. Siska Hutapea. So can we get a virtual round of applause real quick for Siska? Now, before we bring up our guest speaker and invite the dean to say a few words, I'd like to first recognize some people in the Zoom room with us. We have some faculty, Dr. Leila Kabigting. We have Professor Frank Ishizaki, Dr. James G. I see we have Advisory Council member, Ms. Tassi Petticord. And last but not least, I'd like to recognize my team also, the SBPA Dean's Office team. All right, just a few housekeeping rules. Please note that this Zoom call is being recorded. And as a courtesy to our speaker, please make sure your mics are muted. I believe we have control over that too, so we got you if anything. We will have a question and answer portion right after our speaker's presentation. So if you have any questions for her, you can go ahead and unmute your mic, or you can utilize the Zoom raise hand option. You can find it if you click on reactions at the bottom, or you can put the question in the chat and one of my colleagues or I will ask it for you. All right, and that's about it. So I invite you to grab your coffee or your snacks. All right, and without further ado, I'd like to bring forth today's main host for some brief remarks, the Dean of SBPA, Dr. Renette Tyron Santos. Dean, you have the floor, ma'am.
Awesome. Happy day, everyone. I would first like to start by wishing you and your families our personal best from the School of Business and Public Administration. We wish your health and safety during these difficult times. I also want to express our profound gratitude to all those at the front lines who are serving so selflessly during this public health crisis. We all know that COVID-19 is causing tragic loss of life. Even though we're controlling things a little bit more, these measures that are needed to fight it have placed us at zero starting point. We see that across businesses, across our own lives. And so this pandemic has turned many of our lives upside down, impacting countless numbers of people, and with such force as to stop our economies in their tracks. And over the past few months, we have heard the impacts of the coronavirus. Actually, it's almost a year. But the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on our island community that affect our ability to continue pursuing our daily routines. And so in light of those who have lost their jobs, experienced a cut in their work hours, have had to care for loved ones or have lost loved ones, everyone is challenged even so much more with having to manage all of that along with school and work and hopefully a better transition to remote working from home. And I know that many of us are gradually coming back into the office, gradually coming out into the community, and gradually opening up business. So those are positive and optimistic signs. We know that things could get better, and so we're hopeful and depend very much on the availability and the distribution of the vaccine. We also know that despite the immense uncertainty, we can chart a path forward. So everyone should have a response strategy, a personal response strategy to adjust to the evolving conditions of our environment. We learn that in our classes. We hear our professors talking about that. We hear our speakers and leaders in the community say the same thing. So at some point, it won't make any sense to characterize these things or this current environment as unprecedented or difficult or challenging. We have to accept it as it is. And so the question is, how will you choose to respond in these times? And our life experiences have a big part in the way we respond to those questions or to that question. There are many lessons that we can learn about ourselves in the midst of situations like this, how we describe the pandemic or the impacts of the pandemic, how we see things, how we choose to respond, and the visions that motivate and propel us forward are worth reflecting on. So understanding what drives our thoughts and actions very well dictates how we traverse through this environment as a result of it. At the School of Business and Public Administration, our role is even more important during these times. We must be forward-thinking and solution-centric. Our faculty, our academic programs and activities focus on providing experiences that are relevant, meaningful, and of high quality. Every semester, during the Thanuchanan and Thanyamnukin semester, I host the SBPA Dean Speaker Series, where distinguished local and regional leaders and professionals are featured. Apropos to the current environment, I've asked our speakers to frame their talks around the theme of leading through uncertainty and building resilience. So the Dean Speaker Series is integral to the climate of learning at SBPA. And through this series, through this event, there's a great opportunity to integrate theory with practice, and through the presentation of our speaker and the discussions and interactions that follow. So I encourage you to take notes, jot down questions, and participate in the conversation. You have a unique opportunity to engage with our speaker, who possesses intimate and fundamental knowledge of the local and regional business environment. The speaker series offers a great learning experience if you welcome it. And I invite you to be curious, to ask questions, and to share your thoughts and comments. And it is my pleasure to welcome Siska Hutapea, President and Chief Appraiser of Cornerstone Valuation Guam Inc., and a great friend and supporter of the University of Guam, and all of you to today's event. And so I will turn it over to Jaren, or Jaren, I don't know if we turn it over straight to Ms. Siska Hutapea.
Please turn it over to me, Dean.
Okay, I turn it over to
I'm
Jaren.
kidding. All right. Thank you.
Here.
No, thank you, Dean, for those remarks. Again, for the moment you've all been waiting for, Siska is the founder and president of Cornerstone Valuation Guam Inc., a real estate valuation and advisory services company, which she formed in April of 2012. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Structural Engineering from Trisakti University and a master's degree in real estate from the University of New South Wales in Sydney. She holds over 20 years of experience in Guam real estate, and she is the only appraiser in Guam with prestigious triple designations from Appraisal Institute, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, and International Right-of-Way Association. Again, I'm pleased to welcome Ms. Siska Hutapea.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here. Jaren, that lady sounds awesome. The one that you just introduced.
More can be said. More can be said.
Thank you for having me. And, you know, I ran my
She ran her what?
Oh no,
I think she's having
Siska,
something.
are you having trouble with your internet connection?
and I'm going to give you my 5 main takeaways, the Sparks Note version of it. And the first one is, you know, I know most of you are students here. We're going to be all a lifelong student. Studying does not stop at graduation day. And you'll hear more about it in my life story later. Secondly, grit is probably the most ingredient to success. Third, and I know you guys are on the School of Business, and so you're going to enjoy this. The concept of time value of money, the power of compounding, you really have to take advantage of that. So you have to invest your money, you invest in people, and you invest in ideas. So that's my third takeaway. And then fourth is build relationship. You'll see over my life, the course of my life, I've had friends all over, wherever, whenever, that supports me and help me find opportunities. So build relationship is very important. Lastly, but most importantly, is the urge to serve, service. Every business works to serve others. And that's the underlying success of any business, and even in life, that you have to have that willingness to serve. And I told my staff on our meeting on Mondays, that a business should not be money oriented. It should be trying to give its best. The money part is going to come by itself. It does not mean that you shouldn't check your P&L, balance statement, cash flow every week, which I do. You should manage it, but the core of things should be on your willingness to serve. And that's what's gonna make you successful, I think. So having given you the 5 main takeaways, I wanna go on to tell the story of my life. And I hope, you're not be bored by it. You can always learn from failure and success of other people, but I'm gonna time myself because I tend to, when I talk about myself, I tend to talk on and on and on. That's what my kids say anyway. So, okay. So I was born and raised in Indonesia. There are 400 ethnic groups in Indonesia, so I'm used to diversity. And actually, diversity, creates a solid decision making, I think. And so I was my upbringing is very traditional. We're not allowed to wear short shorts by my mom. We're not allowed to have boyfriend or girlfriend in high school. I was only allowed to have boyfriend in college. And I married my first boyfriend. That's how traditional I am. My mom always says study first, romance later. I cannot get married until I finish my master's degree. And I cannot leave the house until I get married. So I didn't leave my house until I was 26-years old. Very, very traditional. But my dad, he's always bringing me to his meetings, when he invites his colleagues from business to the house, he would make all kids sit down and listen to this adult conversation, which I still do now, even at my house. And it gives me a strong, strong sense of self, but also he's very supportive, my dad, and I'm lucky to have that kind of man. My husband is also very supportive. And, they make me feel invincible, that I could do anything, and I never feel inferior or feel not, as good as any other people if you try hard. So I studied structural engineering for my bachelor degree, and I practiced as one for 2 years. And when I come home to Jakarta, I still see the 8-story building that I designed. So I like to pass by it and just reminisce about my past life. So that was fun. And then I go on real estate, like Jared mentioned, from University of New South Wales in Sydney. I studied property management, property development, property valuation. So I studied all aspects of real estate. And that was fun. And then, I got married. Then I got my master's degree. That's the only requirement that my dad gave me. When we moved to Guam, we came here for our honeymoon. I got offered a job when I was presenting in Singapore on a real estate conference. I was 26 years old. And I was leading the delegation because at the time in 97, 98, it was Asian crisis. So all the senior people in the real estate valuation in Indonesia were so busy tackling the crisis. And that gives me a chance to present in Singapore. They paid for my ticket and it was super fun. And that's where I got the job offer from my former boss, business partner, Nick Captain. He just opened his company here on Guam, and he said, why don't you come with me to Guam? And so we tried it out for our honeymoon, and my husband and I fell in love with Guam. Clean water, nice people. They greet you with smile immediately, and I just felt like home. And so we moved. So we came here for our honeymoon in August. we moved here in May of 99. So just like about 9 months later. Life as dinkies, that's what they call it, double income, no kids, was fun. We had so much fun. And we didn't have kids until I was 2 months shy from my 30th birthday. And so we had fun, we explored the world, you know, and when by the time we have kids, we're ready to have kids, you know, because having, and then we didn't stop for a good 10 years. I was either pregnant or having a newborn for a good 10 years because we have 5 kids. But when I moved to Guam, I took initiative to learn about personal finance in America. It's totally different than it is in Asia. In Asia, debt is not a thing, but in America, debt is a thing. You know, even in real estate, we call it leverage. But I study a lot of things, and I subscribe to the magazine Kiplinger. And if you're, you know, young student, you should subscribe. I highly recommend it. You subscribe to the Kiplinger magazine. It's only like $12 a year. But, you know, I learned personal finance. I learned about saving for college, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, 401k. I learned all of this unique personal finance matters from the Kiplinger magazine alone. And I definitely learned about the compounding effect of money and investment. So now I'm going to move on and talk about my career. So when I came here with about maybe $3,000 cash and a master's degree and a husband, a very supportive one, cute too. And so I set my eyes on my goal is to get licensed, my certified general appraiser license. So I came in May 99 and I have to challenge a lot of classes. I could attend the classes, but because I have a master's degree in real estate and I already studied, I just challenge and take exam for those classes, which I did. And by 2002, I have my license. And then I set my goal to get the designation. Designation is kind of like the CPA, the MEI, from Appraisal Institute in Chicago. And for that, I have to, you know, pass comprehensive exam, do certain hours of education, and do a review of my experience in front of my peers and all of that good stuff. So I got designated in 2007. And, you know, the way I did my designation is pretty fun because I was really busy working, but I used my maternity leave. I have 6 weeks of maternity leave to fulfill the requirement of my designation. So I remember with Grace, my second child, I was doing my comprehensive exam, studying for my comprehensive exam. With Timothy, I was hauling my whole, you know, report that they chose to test me, and I went to Hawaii to get peer interview. And so I was like 7 months pregnant, and I was very, very important. When I take my continuing education class, I don't just take the easy one to fulfill the credit hours. I find the one with the best professor, even the one who wrote the book. And then I chose the place in the mainland that is fun, you know, New York, San Francisco, LA. And I met with the best appraiser in the field in the US mainland, and I studied from the best. And that, you know, even though we're in a small island, we could learn a lot from other people. And by keeping in touch with the global knowledge, that gives me the cutting edge in my field, I believe. So that's what I meant by lifelong learning. So even until now, I did that. One of my most memorable continuing education was at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And if you're an engineering student like I was, that's like going to like, it's like going to heaven, or it's like kids nowadays meeting with BTS people, you know? So it was super fun. And so I was like giddy because the professor that was teaching the real estate market class was the one who wrote the book about real estate market when I was taking my master's degree in real estate in Sydney. So that was super fun. The other most important thing is to build your social network through volunteering. So when I first came to Guam in 99 May, by October, I already joined Optimus International of the Marianas. And that's a really good organization for me to make friends. And when you meet people in a volunteering scene, you know, they left their title, they left their, you know, whatever as baggage that they have out the door. And all we do there is to, you know, do things to better other people's life. And when you're serving, you know, that's the closest connection that you can do. And a lot of my friends that I have until now are the friends that I make doing volunteer work. I co-founded Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce also with Governor Lulion Guerrero, Dr. Anita Enriquez, and many, Dr. Mario Cada, and many other good women. And we find a strong bond over volunteering. So I would highly suggest that you do that. Like I said, you know, when you serve others, it gives you, you know, like life purpose, and it gives you perspective that life is not at all suck all the time, you know, and be grateful for what you have. So one of my best friend is Rodney Webb, and we met doing Optimus. I actually met him before he met his wife, which is now my sister, Cora Webb, Dr. Cora Webb. She's a dentist. You know, with that lifelong friendship, I hired Rodney to do my business plan. He introduced me to all kinds of concepts in finance. He was working at KPMG in Melbourne. And, you know, we just built lifelong friendship. Lastly, that I want to touch bases on as far as career is the work ethic. And it's the same thing as, you know, the compounding effect of investing in yourself. When I first started working in Guam, I was paid on salary, but I worked at least 50 hours a week, if not 60 hours with no overtime. And some people would say, why would you want to do that? Well, because I'm investing in myself, and it paid off. You know, I didn't get the overtime, but, you know, I was just curious about the real estate market in Guam, the American way of reporting things. It's different than the way that I study it in the British system in Australia. And so, you know, work ethic is really important. And it's when you work, even whatever things that you do, the little things that you do, I think Martin Luther King said this, if you're a sweeper of the road, make the angels sing by sweeping the road like cleanly. And so, you know, I have that work ethic planted in my heart and head. So now let's move on to me founding the Cornerstone Valuation Guam Inc. So I did it, you know, kind of like my upbringing. I did it kind of by the book. I did business plan. Rodney Webb helped me with that. And the business will have certain income, I will have certain expenses, and I will make money. But by looking at the statement of cash flow, I realized, because sometimes you don't get paid immediately. It could take like 90 days before you get paid after you finish a job. And so it gives me, you know, the perspective of, hey, you may need to have some money saved. Or in my case, I also, we sold our first townhouse that we bought here on Guam as our seed money to open the company. But I also apply using that business plan. I apply for the credit line at the Bank of Guam. And so with that credit line, what is important on that credit line is it empowers me to think big. And I don't have to worry about cash flow. And I just need to concentrate on what I do best, which is the appraisal, the consulting, the real estate valuation. So I think that's really helpful with that business plan. So next, the name of the company, right? Cornerstone. So Cornerstone is defined as a stone that forms the base of a corner of a building joining two walls. And because I'm a civil engineer, I like that idea. But the most important thing that makes me decide for the name Cornerstone is that it's also defined as an important quality or feature on which a particular thing depends or is based. And that really is what I want to do with my work product, with my report. That's what I really want to do, to have all the important features that my client, who are real estate investors, can make their informed decision on. So when I provide the report, it has all their question answered. I did all my due diligence. We did all the due diligence here, and they have all the answer that they need to make their informed decision making. So that's why I chose the name Cornerstone. I also pick a motto for my company, and it's we value. And we value is not only what we do, because we do valuation, obviously, but also, how we treat our staff, our clients, our vendor, and the public. And with that, I meant, with the staff, I have 401k, we have health insurance, even though we're a small company. We have other insurance, and we provide continuing education. We pay for all the education that is needed to get a training license, appraiser license here in Guam. We pay for it. And we also not only education professionally, but every Monday we have a meeting, not only to do a 30,000 feet view of the week, how it's going to go, what's our priority, who's in charge of what, but also we share like a 5-minute Mondays kind of meeting. We just finished the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book. We just finished Dale Carnegie, How to Influence People. And now we're doing the Slide Edge, and it's about the power of compounding and investing in yourself. So we do that. For the public, we publish the only real estate statistic that captured 100% of activity on Guam. We publish the median price of Guam. Bureau of Statistics and Plans get their data from us. And people know, basically, if they need real estate statistic, they go to Cornerstone Valuation Guam. And so, that's how we kind of operate. We value, and we instill that in everything that we do. So now I'm going to move on. Actually, I have one of my, I forgot to tell you that I started my Cornerstone valuation in my dining room, in my dining table in my house with Tara Kai. She's awesome. She now owns Hapaloha with her husband. She's also a 5 kids mother. And I started it in my living room. But 2 weeks later, Al Israel said, Siska, I have a 400 square feet place for you, $800 including power and water, and moving in. So in 2 weeks, I have that. And then a couple of years later, we moved. Al Israel called me again. And when Al Israel tell you to do something, you do it. You don't question. Al said, Siska, I just built a building, Bell Tower, and I need tenant there, so you need to move. So I moved to 1,080 square feet in Bell. We see value in it, and I put my money where my mouth is, which is real estate. And we bought this former Navy officer housing duplex, really old and run down, but we have vision on it. And that's how we have our own building. So we moved here in September 2019. Lots of ordeal, but just like any other good things, it's hard, but it's very satisfying. Now we have now we're in our own building. So now I want to talk about the personal development, and I think this is important for all of you, students. To me, I think, spiritual life is very important. So faith is the strong foundation when times get hard. In October 2018, a little over 2 years ago, I lost my life partner suddenly. When he had heart attack, and when I left the parking lot of Guam Memorial Hospital with my 4 children that was with me at the time, I didn't know that if I'm going to survive tomorrow. I didn't know I didn't know anything about tomorrow. I didn't think I was going to survive because he was a very logistic person, and he, supported me in everything that I do, and so that I can concentrate on doing what I do best. God is good to me. I have a lot of friends near and far that supported me. As a matter of fact, our pastor who had already moved and his wife, who is kind of like my adopted American parents, they came just for Edward's funeral. And it's just heartwarming to have friends that support me anywhere. Like even I didn't, of course, I was young. I didn't plan on funeral. I don't know where to bury my husband. But Bob Salas just opened Wynyard Hills Memorial. He came and picked me up, choose the gravesite, take care of everything. Of course, I pay for it, but just the help, just the, Siska, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to help you. It's just amazing. And so, I have a strong faith. And I think that's what gets me through the hard times. The other important thing is to know yourself. When we appraise a property, we look at the property characteristic. What is the topography? What is the zoning? What is the shape? How big is the frontage? Where is it located? And it's kind of the same principle with personal development. You have to know your strength and you have to know your weakness. Work on your weaknesses, be aware of your strength, and remember that your strength could be your weakness too. For example, I'm a very efficient and effective woman because I'm a mother of 5. When we go to restaurant, I already know what my kids like, so I already order for everyone. But sometimes I carry that to my professional life and I start ordering people around, and that's not good. It gets things done, but you have to kind of tone down. Hey, Siska, calm down there. This is not your children. but yeah, so you have to know your strength and you have to know your weakness. Your weakness is not something to be afraid of. You just have to know it. Oh, I have this tendency to retreat when I have problem, to be problem averse. And you just need to know that. And when you know it, you know how to deal with it, then it's good. And I was talking to my firstborn daughter, Faith. She's a pre-med at junior at Occidental College in Los Angeles. And we have a very different personality. She's very, I don't know if you guys know the DISC personality, DISC. And I'm the intuitive, direct person, and she's like my total opposite. She's very structured. She has to dot her I's, cross her T's. I'm like, let's go. But we balance each other. I really like talking to her because she's my opposite. And when I have like problem, now that I don't have Edward with me, my husband, my late husband, I talk to her and bounce idea with her, and we complement each other. The other thing is, grit and determination. I don't know if you guys read the book, A Gold Digger, a real gold digger, that digs gold, and how he was working really hard to find the gold, working years and years and years, and he decided to finally quit. And when he decided to finally quit and sell the thing, the new buyer came in, and guess what the new buyer found? Out of the place where he stopped, 3 feet away from the place that he stopped, he found gold. So if you ever feel like giving up, remember the gold could just be 3 feet away from when you give up. So I think it's really important to have perseverance and grit, because you can only fail when you quit. If you don't quit, you don't fail. And also, I want to let you know, the pandemic, I'm a mother of 5. Life is busy. In the morning, I cook breakfast for the kids. And then I take, the younger one, the elder one, they drive themselves to school. I cook for them. And then I go to the office, manage the office, actually doing the appraisal work, doing my community service. I'm on the board of GIDA, and I'm on the board of Guam Chambers of Commerce. I'm also on the governor's economic working group, and I'm really busy. And I still help out with the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. And so life is really hectic. And at the end of the day, after losing my husband, I have to take care of all of this by myself. And then I had lunch with a friend in July, and my good friend said, you can't keep on doing like this. You have to take care of yourself. And, you all know about the oxygen rule in the airplane. You can't be the best, to the people surround you if you're not, having the oxygen first. And so that's what I decided to do. I decided to take up yoga. I've been thinking about yoga, doing yoga for 5 years, but I never really take it on. And then I started doing it. And then I added elliptical. And I have to tell you, and this relates to the Slide Edge book that we're discussing right now, and the compounding effect of investing in yourself. So when I did elliptical, the first time I started it, 3.5 minutes, I was going to die. I tell you, I cannot continue this. And then I said to myself, hey, Siska, look, you can just add 30 seconds each day and we're good to go. And so I did that. I did 30 seconds. And, after several days, I'm on 10 minutes. And unfortunately, I lost my mom. But my mom is really good in perseverance. And in memory of her, I said to myself, okay, Siska, we have to do this for mom. We're gonna increase it by 5 minutes. So for a good week, I did 15 minutes. And by now, 35 minutes is almost a breeze on the elliptical. And that's just doing it 30 seconds a day. So do a achievable goal. And just do it consistently. That's the key. Consistently doing it consistently. That's the key of you getting to where you want to be. So I did that, and I'm happy. The side bonus, I feel energized. The yoga really helps me with not stress eating, and I'm happy to say that I was size 12. Now I'm the same size jeans as my teenage daughter. I never thought I could say that word again, but I am. So here you are. Everything is possible. Okay, what else do I want to share with you? Let's see here. Okay, challenges during pandemic. When Guam Chambers of Commerce President Kat Castro asked me, Siska, can you share, what you learned out of this, COVID-19 situation and whatnot? And, what I learned is if you cannot fight nor flight, go with the flow. And so we can't fight, COVID-19 is something that happened to us. We can't control it. So what do you do when you have that situation? Okay, so I have problem with staffing because daycare is not open. So what I did is I changed the way we operate. I let them use work from home. And then I also get the chance to do my newsletter. I have all this time in my hand and I use it productively. I also took some personal time and I took a class at UCLA extension on business law because I was an engineering student. I was, I read lease agreement and I read a lot about contract, but I never really formally study law. So I did this fundamentals of business law at UCLA. And I'm telling you, it's really hard because, I study and then I have a household to run and, I'm very busy. And I was so scared that I was going to get B because I keep telling my children, you're Asian, you're not Bishan, so no B in this household. And I was afraid that I was gonna get a B, but I did get an A. So I live up to my own, my own goal, right? So now my kids can't say anything; they still have to get an A. Sorry, kids. But yeah. So I think that's all that I wanted to share, and I'd be more than happy to answer questions. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that, Siska. I guess that would make me a Sean. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But my mom always wanted to be an Asian, I guess. All right. No, but really, thank you for that. We've received a couple of questions here, but just to answer the student that asked if you can turn off if we can turn on our cameras, yes, you guys are welcome to turn on your cameras. That is totally fine. One question from another student is, for those looking to start their own business, what do you think should be the very first step?
That's a very, very excellent question. I think, first of all, you have to do that business plan. Then you will know, what challenges are you going to face ahead. So do the business plan, period. And, when you choose a field, I kind of don't choose my field, I have to say, but I grow to love it. Like I was interested in electrical engineering, but then my mom said, oh no, what is that? This is 1989 when I choose my field. What is that? Electrical engineering. I could have been the next Bill Gates, but no, my mom said, do structural engineering. So I did. And then my dad said, oh, do appraisal. But then I grew to love it. And I love doing what I do. And it's never a chore because I love doing it. I'm passionate about it. Our company is the only company on Guam that has database on Guam real estate. It's very costly. It's time consuming. I spend a lot of time on it, but I love it. I could look at a person and say, hey, this is what you bought last year, this and this and this square meter, this dollar per square meter, because I really love what I do. And so I think it's important that when you try to open a business, that you're gonna love it and you're gonna be willing to spend time on it, because opening a business is not for the faint of heart. You have to have that grit. You cannot be overcome by failure. And you just have to push on. So I think it's important to choose the field that you love and can spend your time on.
Awesome. We have another question from in the chat from Miss Amy Peter. How has the pandemic affected your business? If you could share your experience and what that was like going through, going through COVID and the lockdown.
Sure. So when they first announced on March 16, the governor announced 2-week closure of businesses on Guam, lockdown. I was like, how am I going to survive these next 2 weeks? We didn't know that it's going to last until January, but we were like, how are we going to survive this? So, the thing is, some don't have daycare. So I unfortunately have to kind of work double time because I have deadlines that's already set prior to the lockdown. And of course my client would understand, but I try to meet their deadlines still. And so it's also a challenge because, we need to prepare, right? And I didn't know, I really have no idea how it's going to affect, the appraisal order, the real estate business. I really didn't know how it's going to affect it. So anytime there's an assignment coming in, I still take it, even though that means that I would have to work overtime because I didn't know how it's going to affect us. But I did take advantage of the PPP loan. The first round, we don't qualify for the second round. But I did take advantage of that. I was actually attending the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business. It's a program. It's kind of like accelerated MBA for business owners, small business owner. And I flew to Boston at the Babson College, and they give me resources about PPP, how to apply for it, what to do, how to book it, and all of that good stuff. So like I said earlier to Amy, I mentioned that, if you can't fight nor flight, you go with the flow. So I kind of go with the flow. I play, I play it, day by day, it's because it's no use to stress out about things. But I do what I can. I grab every assignment that I can and just, work. Unfortunately, I have to work double hard, but because the uncertainty of things, but, I adapt.
Thank you. I have a question from another student who is asking, what can you say about the real estate market, or how the real estate market would be for us once we graduate? So in about 3 to 4 years.
It's, I would say you're probably going to be nearing the boom of the market. Military buildup is going to be here. Tourism industry hopefully is going to be back. I know, everyone wants to travel, and Guam is going to be a good place to travel because they don't have to go, from Korea and Japan, they don't have to go far. And as a matter of fact, the past 7 years, median house price has increased by 65%. That's over 7% annually compounded growth, which is crazy. And that's because we don't have enough labor. Construction cost is high, permitting is long. And so, the median price has been increasing. Having said that, there's always opportunity any time of the day, whether in the peak market, on the bottom of the market, it doesn't matter. We could still find opportunity. So, don't worry that, hey, I can't start my investment right now. Okay, you can't buy real estate right now, but you can put away $50 to your Roth IRA, because if you put in your Roth IRA, you can get you can get money out of it without penalty if you use it for down payment of your house. So the important thing, and my daughter Faith would say this, the important thing is to start. That's the important thing. Just start, and then you're gonna snowball from it. So I hope that answers your questions, unless you want specific.
No, that answers our question. Yes, I actually have another question. This one is a bit here. Sorry, bear with me as I read this. Okay, so here it is. Based on the 2021 economic forecast, the median price for single-family dwellings, based on annualized figures through November of 2020, reveal that the median price has been increasing since 2014 and appeared to be unaffected by the COVID-19 pandemic. What could be the reason of the increase despite COVID? And do you think that the median prices will continue to rise this year?
Is it from Joe Rios?
No, it's
Okay.
It's actually from one of our students, actually. Yes.
Because I know where he read that. It's on the Guam Business Magazine article I wrote. Actually, the median house price, the data as of that article writing was for 11 months, but the new number is at 333,500. That's the median price of single family dwelling in Guam, 333,500. It's 11% increase compared to the prior year in 2019. And you're absolutely right. Oh, of course you're right, because you're reading my article. Someone needs humility dose here, right? But the median price is increasing because, like I said earlier, there's very limited labor pool in Guam. And there's a lot of military projects right now ongoing. And so there's a very, very limited pool of labor in Guam, which drives the construction cost. I remember about 7 years ago, you could still build a house for $110 a square feet. Right now, I just got a quote and it's at $184 a square feet. Fairly decent with fence and whatnot, garage. And so limited labor pool and tedious permitting process. And basically those two are the one that drive the housing price, because over the span of about 29 years that I analyzed the construction permit, there's about 290 new houses every year over the past 29 years. Last year though, it's only 143, so only half of what it used to be. So what happened when you have limited supply? Demand is the same, price is up.
All right, thank you for that. I promise I didn't read it straight from the article. All right, student says thank you though, by the way. Our last question actually is, yeah, we have one more question right here. Whoa, so let me get this. Okay, so what advice would you give students to better, hello?
Yeah. Go ahead, what advice?
Okay, yes, what advice would you give students that can better our buying power when it comes to purchasing a home? What steps would you advise to take to have a better position when that time comes?
Yeah, so I have a very good advice for first-time home buyer or student. You just like what I said earlier, you just have to start. You do not have to start, your first home is going to be your dream home. No, you just need to start somewhere. And I'm going to tell you how I built my real estate portfolio. When this is 2003, my mother-in-law gave us $10,000 to help us with the down payment to buy a Flora Pago townhouse. Flora Pago townhouse at the time was, it was the bottom of the market. And there's a guy who wants to sell it for $100,000. So we borrow my mother-in-law money, 10,000, and we pay her back for the down payment. And then we didn't live in that townhouse immediately. Why would we live there? Because we were staying in an apartment, 2-bedroom, 2-bath in Manila, really nice apartment that we are only paying $500 for monthly rent. And then I could rent that Flora Pago townhouse for $1,300. I don't care about status symbol. It doesn't matter that we live in a 2-bedroom apartment. We could live in that townhouse, but why would we? We have the difference between the $1,300 rent that we can get from that unit and the $500 that we spend for our apartment. We just put it into the principal. So by the time, after about 2-3 years and we're ready to move into our townhouse, we already paid off a lot in the principal. I think we had only about 60,000 in the principal, and then we refinanced that, and the property is now worth 165,000. We refinance that, we get the equity, and we buy our next condominium units, and that's how we start. You start small. You just need to start. It doesn't have to be your dream home. Don't. Oh, I want to buy my first home that has garage, swimming pool, mid-century modern design, whatever. You don't have to start with your dream home. Just start, period. And, I'll tell you a little secret. I think the best way is to build it by yourself. Then you can create equity.
All right, that's sorry, I know I said that was the last question. I have one more, and that's it. It's just asking, what podcasts, YouTubers, or audiobooks or books is Siska reading, listening to right now?
Say that again. What was the question again? I lost you there a little bit.
Sorry, are you listening to any podcasts, audiobooks, or reading any books that, maybe you like to share with us? Okay, me, maybe.
Actually, my children has been on Spotify for a good 2 years, and only like about 6 months ago, they gave me my own Spotify. I've been paying for it, and it allows 6 users, right? And there's 6 of us, and they only gave me the power of Spotify like 6 months ago, and I was like, kids, come on, you're depriving your mother from this goodness of life. So I've been on Spotify a lot, but on podcasts, I do subscribe to Max Lucado and Rick Warren. Rick Warren, those are my favorite. And then that's for podcasts. For books, my kids, I make them read, because reading, I cannot stress the importance of reading. That's how I learn a lot of things. And like I told you, after my husband passed away, my risk aversion is very high. I do not want to take risk. But now, with the new energy that I found myself to be willing to take risk again. And I'm reading The Secret Mind of Millionaire by Harv Eker right now. And I'm also reading a couple of books by Henry Cloud about boundaries. I read multiple books at one point. I have, I guess I just love reading ever since I was a kid. So I told Dr. Annette that I'm gonna give 6 books from my library that I already finished reading, and give it to Dr. Annette so she can share it as maybe give a present to the students that are listening.
Perfect. As long as I'm one of those who get to choose what books. All right. Maybe from the books in your shelf behind you right now.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right.
I love C.S. Lewis too.
All right. Thank you. That was actually it. I'm going to go ahead and have Julian bring up a little presentation for you. All right. This is a certificate of appreciation. Okay.
So
the certificate is proudly presented to you, Ms. Siska S. Hutapea, President, Cornerstone Valuation Guam Inc., for imparting valuable insights and inspiration to the students, faculty members, and staff of the University of Guam School of Business and Public Administration during the SBPA Office of the Dean's Speaker Series, given this 12th day of February 2021. Thank you again, Siska. It was great hearing you.
I do have, if you have a couple of minutes, I do have a couple of advice to the students that I prepared. 3 things. First, be intentional in everything that you do. It's very important. Second, you don't rise to the challenge. You fall to the level of your training. And I know this because a few weeks ago, I tried to make my kids do Muay Thai, and they were so grumpy about it. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to join you. I'm going to join this Muay Thai. And if I can do it, you can do it. So here you are. I'm a Muay Thai student, oldest Muay Thai student in a gym in Manila. And I've been enjoying it. It's very energizing. And because I was doing Muay Thai, I haven't done the elliptical during my Muay Thai thing. And I was like afraid to go to my elliptical and say, oh man, am I gonna, be able to do this? But the Muay Thai training was 2 hours. So I did. And because I'm already at 2 hours at Muay Thai training, that elliptical 35-minute was nothing. So you don't rise to the challenge, you fall to the level of your training. Lastly, shoot for the heavens and you will get the earth thrown in. Shoot for earth and you will get meter. And heaven and earth, kind of symbolizes spiritual and material things. And lastly, to close up, I want to read, a poem from Ralph Emmerdale. I'm going to read this Ralph Waldo Emerson poet about what is success. And I think you all are going to enjoy it. And it's going to leave you for the weekend. So what is success? To laugh often and much. To win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children. To earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends. To appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, and to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, or a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Thank you.
Darren, you're on mute.
Thank you again, Siska. It was great hearing you. Thank you, Dean. But I was just sharing with the Dean that everyone we sent the flyer to responded with, "I love Siska. Oh, I want to hear her. I can't wait to hear her." So again, it was great hearing you. I'm gonna go ahead and call on the Dean just to go, close out. Dean.
Thank you so much. Siska, thank you for sharing your time, your spirit, and your energy. Most importantly, your life story that inspires us. This is not the last time that we're going to call on you to come and talk to us. We hope you'll be receptive and available the next time around. You have led a lifetime of activism in terms of serving the community and giving more than we can. So, so we thank you for inspiring us today. I love that poem that you shared with us. It's often important for us to remember to balance the right and left sides of our brains. We often are challenged using one side more during our academic years, but the creativity and the reflection are so critical to the success of the other. So thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. So the I Love Siska is just part of this Valentine's celebration. Let's spread love in our community, support each other and lift each other up. I think this was a great kickoff to that initiative. And I look forward to everyone practicing some of what Siska shared with us today. And if you want, or if you can, I'm going to ask you to share something with someone near you, someone in your household, someone in the community. Share that, because that is what knowledge is about. That is our responsibility as people in higher education. And the more we do that, the more others will follow. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Siska. Everyone have a great.
Thank you. Thank you. Iris Q music.
And thank you, SBPA team.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, song choice. We got it.